So ever since Donald Trump first deployed National Guard troops in the streets of Los Angeles and then, of course, in Washington, D.C., he has been itching to occupy more Democratic-controlled cities, using the pretext, of course, we've seen this before, of cracking down on crime. Chicago has long been his favorite next target. But after running into a whole lot of opposition from local and state leaders, including the governor, today he appeared to scrap that plan, at least, and this is a key caveat, for the moment. And now he has turned his attention to Memphis, Tennessee.
We're going to Memphis. Memphis is
that's the next city.
Deeply troubled. And the mayor is happy. He's a Democrat mayor. The mayor is happy. And the governor, Tennessee, the governor is happy. Deeply troubled. We're going to fix that just like we did Washington. Straighten that out.
National Guard?
National Guard and anybody else we need. And by the way, we'll bring in the military, too, if we need it.
Like the other cities that Trump has targeted, Memphis is a Democratic-controlled city with a significant population of black residents. But what sets Memphis apart is that the state of Tennessee has a Republican governor, Bill Lee. And Lee appears to be fully embracing Trump's plans. Memphis's Democratic mayor, Paul Young, however, the one Trump said was happy, seemed pointedly unhappy during a press conference this afternoon.
I do not support the National Guard. However, they are coming. It's not the mayor's call. The mayor doesn't have a say or the authority to stop them from coming. And so my goal is to make sure that as they come, that I have an opportunity to work with them to strategize on how they engage in this community.
Yeah, that's not a happy guy. Joining me now is Tennessee State Representative Justin J. Pearson, whose district includes part of Memphis. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. Let me first ask you for your reaction to Trump's announcement this morning.
You know, people in Memphis are disappointed, angry, frustrated with the continuation of the abuse of power by this administration toward his own authoritarian aims. And it is nothing more than using our city as a white supremacist ploy to ensure that his base stays riled up and does not pay attention to the reality of the facts in our city and cities across the country, which is that the federal government is not investing in our cities. That is what is leading to poverty. That's what's leading to crime that's happening. That's what's leading to the problems that we face. It's a disinvestment. We don't need a military occupation. What we need is the federal government to invest in our cities, invest in our communities financially to the tune of billions of dollars so that we are able to address some of the issues and the concerns that we have. I am vehemently opposed to the National Guard being in Memphis and Shelby County. This is not what we need. This is not the intervention that we need. And this is not what our communities deserve. But it is no coincidence that we are a majority Black city with Black people in positions of power here, and that Donald Trump and Bill Lee and Cameron Sexton and Republicans who are in positions of power here are pushing to do this.
No coincidence at all. I think there's no doubt about that, and I'm glad you called it out. Let me ask you, I mentioned Chicago, and I think I caveated it. At this moment, it appears like he was pulling back this morning. We'll see what he does. There's lots of tricks up his sleeve around these sorts of things. But part of it was in response, it seems, at least for the moment, to a lot of pushback from local leaders, from the governor, which you don't unfortunately have that. You are an activist in your heart and soul. Have you been a part of any discussions about how to push back and how to kind of mobilize resistance in Memphis?
Absolutely. I've been a part of discussions and conversations with some amazing leaders and community organizers here in Memphis that are going to organize to ensure that we know our rights, to resist, and to make it very clear that we do not want the militarization of our streets and our communities because it makes our communities less safe. And when we saw this happen in Washington, D.C., we also saw an increase in ICE presence in Washington, D.C., something else that we are deeply concerned about, that we're troubled about for our community members. And so there's already momentum building to protect Memphis, and Memphis will fight for itself. Memphis will stand up against authoritarianism, a wannabe dictator, and anyone who's trying to do things that are harmful to us. And across this country, we need to pay attention because this is a test case in authoritarianism. Right now, it seems like this is about crime, which we know it is not because numbers have been dropping. But we have to realize with the midterms coming, with another presidential election, the federalization of our National Guard is an erosion of our democratic rights. And that is something else that we need to pay attention to.
It's definitely not about crime, because there are programs, to your point earlier, that help address crime, and they have cut funding to those programs. Let me ask you, we played Mayor Young's comments earlier. He does not seem happy, despite what Trump described his opinion or his view as. But he said he can't stop the National Guard from coming. The governor is on board with it. That is a difficult place for the mayor to be. He said he hopes to strategize on how to engage with the Memphis community and the Guard. I mean, how do you hope those conversations go, even as you are working to have discussions about mobilizing and resisting?
Exactly. The people are going to inform the decision that gets made. If the National Guard wants to pick up trash and cut grass, then maybe that's something that they can do. But it is the presence of a military force in our city that is trying to send a message that we do not have the right or the ability to self-govern, and that we as Black folks in particular need to be managed by a white supremacist president of the United States. And that is immoral, that's unjust, and that's un-American. If they wanted to deal with the issues, you would invest financially in our city, in our community. In addition to that, you would push for laws that actually protect us. I got expelled fighting to end gun violence in the state of Tennessee, and the same governor who refuses to do anything about gun violence prevention is now saying that we need to have more people in our streets with guns who are part of the National Guard to help deal with the problem. We have to handle these things systematically and systemically and tell the truth about what is happening. We are being turned into nothing more than a pawn on the chessboard of an authoritarian who seeks to be a dictator. And we have to tell that truth, and we have to rally our supporters, rally our constituents to understand this is also standing up for democracy. If there is anything that they can do, they can come pick up some trash and maybe they can cut some grass, but that's it. But we do not want them in Memphis. We do not want them in Shelby County. We do not want the National Guard in Tennessee. We do not want to be a part of Bill Lee or Donald Trump's plans.
Calling it out is a big part of it. That's a big part of resisting, too. I appreciate you so much, State Representative Justin J. Pearson. Thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Let's keep going.